Did we ever figure out that other issue that happened last time? We were overridden by our counselor.
No, but I've had word with our city attorney about that.
Yeah. Thought?
I told him he's right away. Obviously, the holidays are seated, and so kind of fell by the wayside, and now I'm so knee deep in.
Other things?
Oh,
Well,
no,
I'm-
city council now.
I'm pretty sure
Now we
filing
don't
every
have to go.
petition for every Democratic candidate
Yeah,
in the
it's
state. So
weird.
it's a little bit overwhelmed right now.
And then the one.
Yeah.
And not knowing what districts anybody lives in. That's also an issue. He came to something and said, "You should look at my candidates." So it's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Can't make it easy.
Yeah. No, nothing is easy. If I'm involved, nothing's easy for me.
We have any appeals for them?
Yeah, 2 appeals.
One of them is interesting, they wrote an order that they're like, I don't think we can win this one, so they extended the order there right before. They cited that, not the wrong village, but the wrong.
Helps.
Yeah.
Every little.
I got to talk to Joe because he's on our executive committee for town. And we have a 4-hour meeting coming up on Thursday. So, Speaking of our acting chairman tonight.
So that's it. Hopefully a lighter load.
Eric's
That's scary, right?
Garden fire. What? Did you say garden fire? No, Eric was late, so we got a quite a few. Hey, well, so we just. Gotta wait for him to steal.
I know, I'll make sure it's not.
No. Okay. I'll wing it, it's okay.
We should have them up here all times.
Here.
Well, hey, before you leave, we gotta talk about Thursday. I'm gonna wait for.
Tony.
Oh. We're recording at 5. Oh, okay. Great, we're joking. Vegas.
Critical person. Good evening. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustment for January 25th, 2022. There are 2 types of cases that we hear. We hear zoning appeals, and we hear variance cases, variance requests. We will start with, you said we do have an appeal?
We have some freelance.
Okay. Well, would you go ahead with the, do we need to do that before we do preliminary? Okay. If you plan to testify today, would you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll provide this evening is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, say I do. Thank you very much. And city staff, can you please start us with any kind of preliminary matters?
Yeah, we have 4 tables this evening, agenda. The first one is number 3, DBA 124, location 2875 Livingston.
Thank you. So we'll call the case BZA 21124 for 2875 East Livingston Avenue. Will the applicant please step forward? Yes. I know that you were sworn because I just watched you. Please provide your name. Cody Free. Cody Free? Okay. And would you please tell us about your request for tabling?
Um, So requesting to table damages for next month, next hearing date. Because we didn't get the area commission approval in time. So we have to attend that meeting first next month and then.
Great, we do like to hear the opinions of the area commissions so that we can make a good decision for the community. Is there anybody in the audience here to hear this case or to speak in favor or against a potential tabling? Seeing and hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Move the table.
Second,
Second.
been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yep.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, your variance request for tabling has been granted. It will be scheduled for the next available meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next tabling is case number 10 on the agenda, UK 21-125, 729 Beck Street.
Case BZA 21-155, 729 Beck Street.
It's 155.
Thank you. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Gary Dunn, and yes, I have been sworn.
Okay, Mr. Dunn, would you go ahead and tell us about your request for tabling?
Yes, due to scheduling issues, we couldn't get the, well, we had an on-site visit with the Southeast Commission and got an unofficial vote of yes, but haven't got the official vote. So we wanted to come back with that in hand.
Perfect, thank you so much. As you heard, we do respect and want to hear the opinions of the community, so we will certainly entertain that. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak for or against a tabling for 729 Beck Street, BZA 21-155?
Move the table.
It's been moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Mr. DeMora?
Yes.
Well,
Yes. The tabling has been granted. We'll see you at the next available meeting.
Thank you. Do I need to sign in? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the third table request is case number 13 on the agenda, UK 21-161, 245 North Monroe.
Thank you very much. Let's just fall in line. Please give us your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn.
Sean Knoppy, and yes, I have been sworn.
Okay, please share with us the request for tabling.
Yeah, I wasn't able to have the opportunity to present at the Near East Area Commission, partly due to COVID cancellation, as well as some scheduling struggles.
Okay, well, again, we do welcome the opportunity to have all the area commissions weigh in, so we respect your decision to do that. Is there anyone in the audience to speak on a tabling for 245 North Monroe, BZA case 21-161? Please step forward. Thank you, sir. Would you please give us your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Donald Griffin. Yes, I've been sworn.
Okay, thank you. And so to be clear, this is specifically to say whether or not you're in favor or opposed to a potential tabling for this matter.
Well, I would be opposed to tabling because I came all the way from Washington DC to assist my elderly mother speaking about this particular variance.
Certainly, certainly. We do respect that and we will take a vote, but just to explain to you with the other previous cases, the area commission has not heard this case, as I understand it. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
And we do encourage the area commissions, the people boots on the ground in the community, to be able to weigh in on the request so that we hear their opinion before we make our final decision. So absent their ability to do that, we encourage people to get that and come back to us. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to present?
Nothing I'd like to present. I mean, it's just very inconvenient. I paid for a flight to come here today and speak.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to the zoning commission this morning to confirm the meeting was going to be conducted, and they affirmed that the meeting would be held. So here I am, ready to speak and reschedule flights and come back again. It's very inconvenient, and it would have been nice if I had sooner notice that this will not be heard today.
Sure, and we will go through the formality of a vote, and it may not pass, because they have to have all three people saying that we would approve a tabling the matter, so we'll take it for a vote. But in the event that it does not, that it does pass and it is tabled, I'd encourage you to talk to this young man, as well as perhaps somebody on the commission, so that you can share your concerns, if you have any, so that they can be brought forward. Okay, thank you so much.
I'll meet you outside.
Okay. Anyone else to speak for or against a potentially tabling for this matter at 245 North Monroe? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll move the table.
It's been moved.
Second.
Seconded, please call the roll.
I'll abstain since I missed the conversation.
Mr. DeMora?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, the tabling is granted. Thank you very much. And please do be in touch with that gentleman.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and our final payment request is case 15. That's 163, 3900 South High.
BZA 21-163-3900 South High Street. Would you please give us your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Josh Long, and yes, I've been sworn in.
And please share with us why you are requesting a tabling.
We have an ongoing review of the right-of-way dedication exemption. That review isn't going to be complete for another week or two, and then the result of that will then impact the setbacks, which will then impact our request. So that's when we're requesting this to be tabled.
Is there anyone in the audience that is here to speak in favor or against a potential tabling for 3900 South High Street, BZA case 21-163? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion?
Move the table.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Beverly?
Yes.
Mr. DeMora?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, the tabling is granted. We'll see you at the next available meeting.
And two quick announcements. If anyone doesn't feel comfortable sitting in this room due to COVID and 6-foot separation, the conference room next door, we are streaming the meeting live. You can go next door and watch it on YouTube, and then when your case comes in, you can come back in the room. Second announcement is there are only 4 board members tonight. We need 3 positive votes for your action. That's all we have. We can start with the regular agenda.
Okay. So, did you mention?
Oh, I'm sorry.
appeal? What is it? Where is it?
Which one is good? I'll do mine.
The one on Howie Road.
The good one?
There's no one here.
There you go.
Great.
Thank you. Okay. BZA 21-159, 2341 Howie Road. The appellant here. You guys know if the appellant's here?
Is the appellant here? So there's a little bit of miscommunication. Did send out certified notice. We got a response back from the United States Postal Service saying that the mail was being redelivered, and we never got a redelivered notice, or never came back to us. However, I personally have been speaking with the appellant, or aware of the appeal, but given us that possibly notice has not officially been served, the board wants to table that, may not object, but I would be better told with me.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's their appeal. So I don't even know that code enforcement can weigh in on that. Their appeal to be here or have it tabled.
Maggie laughing here?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to come and?
Sorry.
Yes, thanks.
Yes, sir.
So Mr. Jones is saying, well, based on my email today, that we got a return notice from the post office saying it was resent, but we never got a certified address card back. But I haven't been in contact with them, and the appellant said they would be in that hearing tonight. So the question for the board is, does staff have an issue postponing that appeal?
I mean, as far as code enforcement would be concerned, I would imagine that we'd like to move forward so that we can move forward with this case to get some clarity on, I believe 330501 was this code section that was being appealed. So I think our code officer's prepared, but if the board decides.
To be clear, our meeting here today or any kind of appeal doesn't impede code enforcement from enforcement, does it?
Well, if,
I mean, they can continue, if there are orders on this property, this appeal doesn't stop you from pursuing those orders and timelines, et cetera, correct?
This appeal actually stops that process until
Okay.
it's heard. So therefore, the code enforcement officer for that particular property can't move forward because we have to get clarity to the section.
Pardon?
an appeal stays the order, so it's just.
Okay, so for that reason, we will decide here, absent the person because they had an opportunity, you've been in communication with them.
Well, I have one question then. Is there a requirement statutorily that service be perfected?
Yes,
And so we're not sure that service has been perfected.
correct.
That could be.
We're not, yeah, but we're not gonna dismiss it. We would simply either postpone.
No, I would agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, so we need a motion. I would say I would look for a motion
I'll move the table.
to table this. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Please call the roll.
Welding,
Yes.
Mr. Maleka,
Yes.
Mr. Mora,
Yes.
Yes, so please continue forward with your timeline now, since this is tabled, and hopefully this action here will allow you to do that.
If it's tabled, it's going to be heard next month, correct?
It'll be heard at the next available meeting, yes.
Okay. So we would have to maintain until next month's hearing before we can move.
Okay, we'll have to go with that for this time because we don't have, ideal service or confirmation of service.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
So now, Jamie, we're ready for case one?
sir.
Okay, BZA 21-110, 2295 Lockbourne Road. Please step forward. Please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn.
I'm Jeffrey L. Brown, attorney with Smith and Hill, and I have been sworn.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Whose case for city staff is this? Thank you, Mr. Bench.
Twenty-two 9295 Lockbourne Road is located on the west side of Lockbourne Road, approximately 320 feet south of Buckeye Park Road, served by the Columbus South Side Area Commission and manufacturing. The 3.6 acre site is made up of two parcels developed with a commercial warehouse used for concrete business. A swale stream runs from southeast of the site through to the northwest corner of the site. The site was purchased by the current owner in September 2020, after which the site was cleared, gravel parking areas were installed, multiple portable buildings were placed for storage, and a chain link fence was installed around the perimeter measuring 7 feet 6 inches tall at the front. Pursuant to this, a zoning code violation notice was issued in March 2021. Surrounding uses, heavy manufacturing to the west, commercial warehouse and single unit dwelling to the north, manufacturing and assembly and a city transportation division, street maintenance outpost to the east, and an industrial truck terminal to the south. So the applicant proposes to legitimize some of the site changes and construct a new building. Special permit is required for the portable buildings, there are multiple, and variances are to not provide interior landscaping, perimeter landscaping, parking space striping, pedestrian connection from the buildings to sidewalk, or wheel stop devices. Would not provide any of those things listed. To reduce the parking setback from 25 feet to 0 feet to allow gravel as a surface for parking. To not screen a dumpster on all sides. To reduce the building setback for the fence from 50 feet to 0 feet. And to reduce the storage setbacks from 20 feet to 0 on the north, south, and west sides. CPP2 design guidelines state chain link fencing is not appropriate for screening. Therefore, staff requests a fence adds slats or fabric screening as it appears from Lockbourne Road to mitigate its visual impact, and the applicant is amenable to that. C2P2 further states landscaping should create and define public and private spaces and provide shade, aesthetic appeal, and environmental benefits. The requests to not provide interior or perimeter landscaping are generally supported given the nature of the use, but to mitigate its loss, staff requests landscaping be included along the Lockhorn Road frontage. Staff additionally encourage street trees along Lockhorn in consultation with foresters. Traffic management approved a partial right-of-way dedication exception request requiring 40 feet from center line to be dedicated. This reduction is conditioned on landscaping and screening being provided along Lockhorn Road to the satisfaction of planning division. And upon further consideration of the industrial nature of the site, the distance between the proposed building and Lockhorn Road, and the existing status of much of the site, traffic management can now support the requested variance to not provide a pedestrian connection from the building to the public sidewalk. South Side Area Commission recommended approval. Staff can recommend conditional approval. Staff noted that much of the conditions of the site were created after recent transfer of ownership and without zoning clearance. Most notably, these include the gravel parking and chain link fence, which trigger a number of other variances and make certain requirements inconvenient, such as a pedestrian connection, landscaping, and parking standards. However, the proposal is generally consistent with C2P2 design guidelines in that the addition of slats and fabric screening on the fencing and 2 street trees mitigate the request to not provide landscaping. In addition, the request to not provide the pedestrian connection is supported given the industrial nature and status of the site and distance between the building and Lockhorn Road. So the 3 conditions that we're recommending are to add the slats and fabric screening that planning had requested, to provide the 2 street trees that are shown on the site plan, and that the applicant shall commit to the stamped site plan.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brown, you have the recommendations from city staff, conditional recommendations, and the area commission. Do you accept the conditions as presented?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
I just wanted to explain, my client is in the concrete business, and so he has a lot of trucks, a lot of forms that come out. One of the basic things he does is do foundations. So there's a lot of truck traffic that goes in and out of the site, and that's the reason that we want to maintain the gravel. Anything else would ultimately get broken up. We do have concrete entryway, which traffic wanted to have. That's already in place. If you looked at the site plan, you saw there's a stream that goes through the site that kind of divides the site in half. The area around us is all zone M, has our property. And so the variances just kind of reflect the stream going through the middle of the site and allow the client to be able to use as much of the property as he can. And in addition to that, we have the special permit for the containers on the property where they store forms and tools on the property. So we think it's appropriate use. We met with the area commission, did it on site and everything, and they're in support of our request.
I like how that sounds. Is there anyone in the audience?
Okay. So Mr. Brown, first of all, are these portable buildings forever, or are you going to take them down at some point in time?
I would say at this point, they would be forever. They're internal to the site, and we use those for storage. Now, ultimately, if they would build a big enough building expansion, you could probably do away with them. But in the interim, Mr. DeMoro, they would be there.
I mean, I remember when we give variances for a certain amount of time for portable buildings, but I don't remember us giving permanent portable buildings, at least maybe, I'm sure we probably did, but I don't remember it. And then secondly, I just have to say, I mean, your client bought this stuff in 2020, so not that long ago, and did all this stuff without even, I mean, just kind of said, you know, screw the.
Well, no, there was work already done on the site. He wrongly thought he could continue what somebody else had already started. So we are here to clean that up. As you know, you can't always depend on when your client calls, but we've been working diligently since he got excited to go solve the problems. And I think as you heard from staff between our conversation with traffic planning and the Parks and Rec report, you know, what you're seeing in front of you is a proposal that is supported by all those groups.
Does the site plan specifically state where they're to be placed? Can you show that to Mr. Demora? So that way, Bill, if they,
They're internal to the site. They're not on the perimeter of the property. I could understand if they were in front along Lockbourne or something like that.
so if they move, Bill,
Yeah.
they're technically in violation and we can put them back. But it looks like, to Mr. Brown's point, they're pretty embedded into the site.
All right.
So I had another question while the site plan is up. Along Lockbourne, I'm seeing 2 rows of fencing.
Well, he put the fence in line with everybody else's fence. The city, as part of this BZA request, has asked for additional right of way. So the existing fence will actually have to be moved back 10 feet.
Okay, so that existing, what I'm seeing is that fence is being removed.
It's
Yeah.
being moved back to accommodate the additional right of way that
Okay.
the city
So
requested.
the trees will actually be on the other side of the fence.
The trees will be
Okay.
on the,
Street
in the
side.
public right of way, and we talked with the Parks Department about that.
Got it.
It wouldn't seem to make any sense to put the trees internal to our property when they're trying to screen it.
Yep.
Plus, we're gonna do the fabric on the fence.
Makes sense.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Is there anyone in the audience here today that would like to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none, I will look for somebody to call the question with the conditions as presented.
I'll call the question with conditions.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Malika,
Yes.
Mr. Wellesley,
Yes.
Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Chair Jones.
Yes, variances are granted. Thank you for getting that area tightened up. Next case, BZA 21-118 for 3028 North High Street. Please step forward. You again?
Yes, Jeffrey L. Brown with Smith and Hale representing the applicant.
Alrighty,
Excuse me just a second. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Yeah, Jose Hadelstad, yes, I've been sworn.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
All right, 3028 North High Street is located on the southeast corner of North High Street and East Weber Road. It is zoned C4 Commercial District. The 0.15 acre corner lot is currently developed with a bar and barber shop. Surrounding uses include a multi-unit residential development to the north and south, and other types of commercial businesses to the east. The site also abuts the Crestview neighborhood to the west. The applicant proposes to legitimize the existing deck in the rear of the building and further expand it into the current parking lot. Given the size of the deck, a variance is requested to reduce the minimum number of additional required parking spaces from 4 to 0. The Clintonville neighborhood plan states parking reductions are appropriate along High Street and commercial areas served by transit, and that bike racks be installed as part of the commercial development. Consistent with plan guidelines and the site's location on the primary corridor, staff support the parking variance as well as support the addition of bike parking on the site plan to mitigate their loss. With a revised site plan, all Division of Traffic Management comments have been resolved. The Clintonville Area Commission recommend approval of the request with a condition that there is no audio or visual equipment to be added outside. And city staff can recommend approval as the proposal is consistent with plan guidelines and with the site's location on a primary corridor. Staff support the parking variance as well as support the addition of bike parking on the site plan to mitigate their loss. We just have a condition that the applicant will commit to the stamped site plan.
Thank you so much. You have the support of the area commission and the city staff offices. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I would also like to do another condition as Clintonville recommended that there'll be no audio or visual equipment outside.
I'm glad you added it, because I was gonna ask you if you would add it, so.
Thank you. So I have a question for staff really quick. I know Tony normally notes all of this stuff and I'm not noting it. Okay.
Yep, I've got it. I'll make sure it's there.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add, Bill, or?
No, I was gonna do that. He did, he beat me to it.
My client's been there for 26 years. He can answer any operational question. The initial patio was put up when the smoking ban went into effect to provide something for his patrons. With the health issues and COVID, which does not seem to be going away, he wanted to expand it to get some additional space for his customers.
Okay. Sounds
So we
good.
appeared in Clintonville a couple of times and have their support based on our revised plan.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions from board members?
No.
Anybody in the audience here to speak for or against this proposal? Please step forward. I don't know if they need room, Mr. Brown. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn? And I need you to do it in front of the camera so that we can live stream it. Thank you so much.
My name is Michael Matursky, and I have been sworn.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
I'm the property owner on a property at 3335 Tibbet. It's a duplex immediately to the east of this subject property. There's an alleyway to the east there, right where that dumpster is. And then in the first picture, that property up there, that the arrows at, the cursors at, my property is 2 more up. So it's a little bit further up, right? It's the next one past where that cursor is right there. And it's on the south side of the street. I'm here to speak for my tenants because they're not allowed to come and speak. They're not property owners. I am. I've owned that property since 2006. My father previously owned that property since 1970. It's always been a rental property. We take care of our tenants. They take care of us. I do cut the grass there, so I'm there frequently. And I noticed that the area in front of the property is frequently used as parking. What you're basically doing by eliminating by eliminating any parking at all here, you've got 3 businesses in this building, 3 separate businesses. You got a total of 4 parking spaces, and you're going to 0.
I can,
Does it not come against my time?
It does not come against.
no, sorry, I just wanted to let you know, they're not getting rid of the parking spaces that are shown. The square footage of the deck is triggering 4 more spaces. So they're essentially just keeping the spaces that are shown here. So they're not going to 0 spaces. They're just not adding the 4 additional spaces that the square footage of that deck will trigger.
Okay. I've been a good neighbor there, and like I said, my tenants oppose this, and so I'm here on their behalf.
Okay.
They have off-street parking behind the property, but that is somewhat limited. And so on-street parking is heavily used in that first block. We've got multifamily and single-family properties on the east side. You've got multifamily and single properties on the north side. And I just think it's irresponsible to limit more parking in that area and just to rely on surface parking on the street because it directly impacts my tenants and speaking on their behalf and I.
Makes sense. What are the 3 businesses that you referred to?
There's one in that building. There's a business. I believe it's an eye care business that faces over on the Tibbet. Then there's one on the hard corner on High Street where you can see 3 separate spaces in there. There's 3 different businesses. Sorry, what?
Under that one building, or are they the adjacent parcel?
I believe they're all in the same parcel.
Yeah, it's 1 parcel.
So those 3 dots that I'm looking at, those are the 3 different places?
No, the 2 places, there's 2 places in the back. We're not quite sure if they're open. It's the paint shop. The 2 that I mentioned is the barber shop and the Clintonville Tavern, which is in the front, those 2 in the front, but there are 2 in the back.
And so the fact that this is 1 parcel, I'm just curious now, 1 parcel, 2 businesses, maybe 4. How do you allocate space? Like when we talk about calculations and change of use, I don't know, was this ever approved for 4 different uses? And I know it's kind of a historic question. Does that make sense? Like if something were to move, if one of those moved to a restaurant, how does that change what we might do here? Right?
I'll let you take it.
Yeah. The combined square footage of each use and required number of parking spaces to be provided. So if, for example, a retail shop were to convert into drinking, they'd be required to provide more parking. But because the site is limited with what it has, they'll just have conflict in there.
But the calculations are always redone based on the new use?
Yes.
Even though it's the same parcel?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you can, I got one more, Mr. Brown. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Name is Mark Kautzman, and I have been sworn.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm on the board of directors of the condominium directly opposite Weber Road from the property. We've been following this throughout, all the, intending at the Clintonville Area Commission. There were a couple concerns of the Area Commission which were raised that I'm not sure have been properly addressed. One of them has been, I see from the diagram that they are including handicap parking, which was raised last meeting. The two issues that most concern the residents of the condominium are the parking, which I see as being not totally reduced, but we do have a concern about the parking because it is a somewhat congested area, especially on weekend nights. And more importantly, the noise abatement issue, which was the reason for the fact that there's stipulation, no audio visual or TVs or anything out there in the patio. But one of the things promised at the Clintonville Area Commission for their approval was that the owners of the property in the tavern would work with the neighbors, specifically the condo, to try and figure out a way to make sure that that was ameliorated perfectly. But we've heard nothing from any of the parties. And I just want to make sure that that was brought to the zoning board's attention.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Doug Samholt, and yes, I've been sworn in.
Thank you.
I'm a Clintonville resident. I live about 2 blocks east of the Brewster's Beach Wall Tavern. Myself, my wife, a lot of our friends that live in our area or come visit with us. A lot of Clintonville residents walk to the different bars. I understand there's, been a lot of talk about the parking, and that's understandable. The one thing that I am for is the handicap, because I do have a handicap placard. So when I do frequent the bar, that is nice that there'll be a handicap spot now. But within the Brewster's location, there's probably 5 bars in that area. And I mean, a lot of the residents walk to all these different bars, and at the different bars, they all have patios. And the patios are a lot larger than what Brewster's has and what they will have. So I'm just here to say that, I would vote for the patio extension.
Thank you very much.
Sir, we have to sign in quickly, and the last 2 speakers, if you would mind coming back and signing in as well.
So we are signing in.
Well, for the speakers, yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone else here to speak for or against this proposal? Please step forward. And then when you finish, you can sign in line with those guys. So could you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Francisco Rodriguez.
Okay, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I live on 206 East River Road, like 3 minutes walking from my house to the bar. Been living there for since 2007, and everybody walk there. 80% of their clientele are from the neighborhood. So every bar is being struggling for not having the place like the patio for either smoke or whatever, and it's struggling for a lot of people because if you don't have a chance to have a spot for a patio, you go someplace else. So I agree that we should pass this, and that way we can make an order. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please sign in as well. Anyone else to speak for or against this proposal? Mr. Brown.
This is an old historic commercial strip. Buildings were built when people didn't worry about driving cars. So you have an existing building that doesn't have today's code parking, but it operates and works when we met with Clintonville, their biggest concern was, could you get an ADA space in there? And we were able to do that working with Brandon's and his staff to solve that problem. In terms of what we're talking about, we've got a patio up against the building. It's enclosed by a fence. We have no video or audio component to this. And so when you look at the relationship of what we're talking about, you have High Street and Weber, whatever noise level you have with High Street. You have the building, you have the patio attached to the building, you have a fence, then we have the parking, then we have an alley. So in terms of a location, this is the best place to put it. The limitations in terms of the audio and video handle the noise levels. So we think it's an appropriate use. We went to Clintonville, they support it. If you look in their Clintonville area plan, this is the type of use that they talk about doing. And, my client has been an operator for 26 years. So he's predated any of this new development that is surrounding him. And what he's trying to do, instead of having, his patrons stand out in front of the building on High Street or to the side, he would like to put him in a patio where he can dress it up and be more appropriate for both him, his customers, and actually for the neighborhood. So we think this is a reasonable request with the conditions that were attached to the application.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions from board members?
Just a comment, question. It says 6-foot fence around the entire patio, is
Yes.
that correct?
Okay, I will look for somebody to call the question with the two conditions as presented.
I'll call the question with 2 conditions as presented.
Question has been called. Please call the roll.
Mr. Bonneville?
Yes.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
Mr. Maleka?
Yes.
Chair Jones?
Yes, variance is granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. BZA 21-134, 1439 Boswell Drive. Applicant, please step forward. Hello, would you please let us know your name and whether or not you've been sworn?
My name is Ray Massa, and yes, I've been sworn.
Thank you, Mr. Massa. Who is handling this case? Jamie?
Okay, 1439 Boswell Drive. It is located on the south side of Boswell Drive. Grab a table. Okay, located on the south side of Boswell Drive, 300 feet southwest of Murrayfield Drive. The site is within the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition and zone LR2 limited residential. The site is developed with a single unit residential dwelling in a residential neighborhood. The applicant was cited for installing a structure, a 6-foot 6-inch fence, partially in the required side yard. The area required in the side yard or rear yard shall be open from the established greater sky. The sky unobstructed except for structures not requiring a building permit. Fence taller than 6 feet is considered a structure and therefore requires a building permit and subject to the side yard setbacks. Plenty has no comment on this request, and the Far North area plan does not address the specific matter. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments either. Far North Columbus Communities Coalition recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as the portion of the fence that encroaches in the side yard, which you see on the site plan here, is this little green part in the circle. So everything back here, because this is the rear yard, would not be subject to the permit, but just this small portion here is in the side yard because it's right in the side of the building and is subject to the permit. So having said that, staff is recommending approval. The only condition is that the applicant will commit to the stamped site plan to ensure only the portion of the fence depicted will encroach into the side yard. That, Mr. Chairman, will turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Massa, you have the recommendation for approval from the area association as well as city staff. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate the understanding. There are good reasons to build the fence. That small section was necessary to shield, the main purpose of the fence was to shield having vision of all the junk that the neighbor has in his side yard and his backyard, and also some voyeuristic activities that the guy does. So that was necessary. So that was the reason for doing that. And I have neighbors on the other side of the house. Here, I'm going to be happy if there's any questions.
Thank you so much. Is there any question or comment from our board members?
Yeah, I mean, how did he get cited for 6.5 feet?
The neighbor called it out.
Just like,
Called it himself.
all right.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against this proposal? Please step forward. Would you please provide us with your name and confirm whether or not you've been sworn?
My name is Hugh Morse, and yes, I have been sworn.
Okay.
I live at 1445 Boswell Drive. I'm the neighbor who is a voyeur, which is news to me because the police have never been called. I've never been cited by the zoning board. I have a problem with the fence because it's actually 9 feet tall if you go by my side of the yard. It was built without a permit. It was put back there without consultation from me. The existing fence, I've been led to understand, was mine. The boards on the other side facing Mr. Mass's property were stripped off when he put his on. I've got photos of this. The fence, there is no gap between my existing fence and his fence. There is no setback. And like I said, I've got photos to show this fence is 9 feet tall on my side of the property. So it's cutting off sunlight. As for the junk in my backyard, I've never been cited by zoning or the city for anything like this. As far as voyeurs activity, I walk around my backyard at night because I work second shift and I do activities at night in my yard.
Anything additional?
I contacted Paul Freeman Zoning on May 24th. This fence has been there since I moved into the property on 2003. So I don't know where the existing fence line is, the property line. I'm not sure where the property line exists. But the reason why I complained is because Mr. Mass's family said I should watch where I walk, making sure I don't cross that property line, and they're using the fence as a determination of that.
So to be clear, that has nothing to do with this proceeding.
Right.
You guys have a survey issue that you need to address.
Okay. Also, Mr. Mass's lot the fence is causing my lot to flood because it's raised up and cut off the flow, which is supposed to be from east to west for drainage.
Okay,
So
you're saying it's in a drainage area, it's impacting the drainage area?
Yes.
Okay, can you show that to us? Is that indicated on any of these? I haven't seen the site plan.
I can show you a picture of the lot here. I've got a picture of it, and you can see Mr. Mass's lot.
I can't see that at all.
Can I read to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Oh, we can't have him pass. Michael. People have been walking up here and tripping.
Mr. Mass's lot is going to be the one with the gray shed in it. Mine is the other side.
So a couple questions. What is the code regarding fence locations and property lines?
Fences can be
This shows
constructed
this
on
fence, and that's my
on-
board.
on the property line. At 6 feet, anything taller than 6 feet is considered structure, subject to the building setback.
But there's no requirement to be off the property line.
Not without a
fence.
variance.
Okay.
It isn't. But he's here asking for a variance to reduce that setback.
Okay. And then drainage.
No, that's not
The
here.
variance is only to allow the
Height of the fence.
the height.
Well, okay, let me phrase it a different way. Any fence taller than 6 feet requires a permit in the side. Okay, this fence is, according to the applicant, 72.5 inches tall. So 6.5 feet.
It's 72.5 inches long in the area that
Or
is
8 feet.
So
If you look at
it's
this photo, it's well over 8 feet. The board I'm standing next to is 9
Excuse
feet
me.
tall.
I want to keep one conversation so we can all benefit from it. Is your question answered?
For one question, yes. And then the other one was, what was it? Oh, drainage. Who is responsible? What city department deals with drainage issues? It wouldn't be us.
Not zoning.
Definitely not us, but I mean, if we could see something from a picture, that would be clear for us. But I don't know that,
I don't know how we could judge where drainage is supposed to go.
I mean,
I can shed some light on that if you guys want.
It really would have to come from, I would think, a city, where if usually it happens between yards, but you never know. It could go over somebody else's yard into a drainage. But we wouldn't, there's no way to determine that without a neighborhood grading plan.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Massa.
So I was the builder who built the house. The previous owner, that house, was Mr. Joe Pingway. Well, he was the developer that built the house. The grading plan was built per specs for the grading plan approved by the city for drainage. I actually had to lower that side because if I built it correctly, his house became a swimming pool. So I lowered it, which actually caused more water to lay on my side of the property to help that side drain. And still to this day, when he gets water in his yard, it's also in my yard. So my fence was built and there's a swell underneath it, not to impede the water. It flows. The problem was when his home was built, it was built too low. So I still have, and I've spent quite a bit of money trying to correct that. But it goes from his house to my house to an easement to the other neighbor's house, goes down to a stormwater drainage. His house is built too low. My grade was set properly and I even lowered it to help them. So,
Okay, so the swale in the back, your fence is above that, so water can flow back and forth. Okay, thank you very much. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add, sir?
Check my notes here. I'm kind of nervous just because I've never done this before.
That's okay, I understand. Take your time, but you only have the balance of 3 minutes.
Okay. Mr. Massa has not talked to me at all about this fence. Okay.
Clearly, there are some contentious issues, and
Right.
you're not going to let them cloud this.
I understand that, but I have not been approached about it. It was just swung there and I kept quiet about it for quite some time. But when I saw this variance of it, I was afraid it would legitimize something that I wasn't sure I should stay quiet about.
Well, I appreciate that. So your concern is drainage, I guess?
My concern is the fence is very tall. It's over 8 feet. It's 9 feet tall. It's cutting sunlight off my property and it acts as a dam on my property because if you look at the two lots, it's higher than mine in the photos that I've passed around. For the other things, I haven't not been cited by the city. Nobody's called police.
Please, guys, we're not here for that. So if you can't continue with the items that are germane here, I'm going to just cut it off.
That's fine.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Please sign your name on the sheet. Is there anybody additional that would like to speak for or against this proposal? Please step forward one at a time.
How much, we're talking about what, 2.5 or 3 feet, this variance covers the shaded area.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question too, Nelson.
It says 6.5 feet.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But it's just that portion of the side.
Portion
Correct.
that's
Right.
right within the side.
Yeah, anything, basically beside your house.
Do you have something to say, sir? Please
My
step
misnomer is that the side yard is the entire side yard. The side yard is only measured from the back of the building to the front.
So David, just to clarify, the rest outside of that circle is legitimate.
Trees, correct, yeah.
Sir, would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Nidal Saeed,
Thank you.
I have been sworn.
Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of Ray Mesa. We've been neighbor for the past 26 years. We have no problem at all. Regarding the fence that he built, he already stated why, the reason he built it. We're not gonna go in detail, so we have no objection about that fence being
Okay.
built.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Please sign your name on the sheet. Is there anyone additional? Please step forward. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Sure, my name is Stacy Saeed, and yes, I have been sworn, and I'm just here as his neighbor to support difference in the variance and the fence.
Thank you very much. You can sign in right there on the sheet. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here to speak for or against the proposal? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Massa, I don't know that you need to address any of the comments that were made. I think we're crystal clear on what this proposal is and what the impact's going to be. So I would look for a Someone from our board to call the question with the conditions. And just to be clear, you're okay with us stamping the site plan that's crystal clear where everything is?
It is, and I can make a comment on the location of the fence.
Relative to what?
Well, whether or not it's on the lot line or if you have some.
That's really not our issue. That's a survey issue. Can I see the site plan?
I want to go bring it.
Oh,
I
okay.
can bring it up on.
Okay.
But yes.
You've seen it, you're okay with us stamping it, and that's the condition? Okay. Is there somebody that's going to call the question with that condition?
I'll call the question with the condition.
The question's been called. Please call the roll.
Welcome.
Yes.
Maleka?
Yes.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
Chair Jones?
Yes, your variance is granted. Good luck with your continued efforts in your, at your home. BZA 21-149, 5548 Glasgow Place. Please step forward. Thank you so much. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn? Okay, thank you very much. Who's presenting this case?
21-149 at 5548 Glasgow Place, located on the northeast corner of Glasgow Place and Ellinger Street, within the Northwest Civic Association and zoned R1 residential. The 0.12 acre site is developed with a single unit dwelling in a residential neighborhood. The site are other single-use dwellings. The applicant is responding to a zoning code violation occurred on September 11, 2020, directing a fence erected past the building setback and obstructing vision clearance. The applicant proposes to legitimize the location of the privacy fence within the front yard along Ellinger Way. Therefore, a variance is requested to allow a fence exceeding 2.5 feet in height to exceed 25% capacity when located in a required yard. Planning has no comment regarding this proposal. The Northwest plan does not address the variance requested by the applicant. Planning would recommend an additional 3 trees along Glasgow Place to reduce the visual effects of the fencing. The Division of Traffic Management has determined that intersection site distance and site distance for adjacent driveways would not be adversely affected by the requested variance. The Northwest Civic Association recommends approval of this request. Staff can also recommend approval as the Division of Traffic Management has inspected the site and determined that intersection site distance for adjacent driveways is not adversely affected by the fence. And we would recommend the condition that the fence is limited to its current location and does not exceed the current height of 6 feet.
Thank you so much. So question for you, like I'm about to stamp a site plan from Mr. Massa and we don't have one here.
This one is just, it's going to stay in its current location at its current height.
But I'm saying I think code enforcement would go to the site plan to confirm 5 years from now if she moves it to the street, for example. You know what I mean? So what's the follow-up for that?
My rationale on this one would be that we've got Google Street View and we can check it.
Okay, I'll accept that. Ma'am, you have the recommendation from the city staff as well as the Northwest Civic Association. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add for your request? Okay, thank you. Any questions from our board members?
Nope.
Is there anyone in the audience here to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing,
I will add that we did get a recommendation letter of support from a neighbor at 5546 Glasgow Place.
okay, let's note that for the file. Thank you very much.
I'll call the question.
Question's been called. Please call the roll.
Mr. Maleka?
Yes.
Mr. Mosley?
Yes.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, your variance is granted. Congratulations. Take care. BZA 21-150 for 363 Thurman Avenue. Please step forward. Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Yeah, Kara Grazer, and yes, I've been sworn.
Okay, thank you very much. Jamie?
Okay, 363 Thurman Avenue, the rear, is located at the northeast corner of Thurman Avenue and Nursery Lane. The site is zone R2F residential and both south side area. The site is built with a single unit dwelling located on a lot that fronts an alley, technically faces west. Surrounding uses are single unit residential to the north, south, and east. There's a commercial building to the west owned by Ohio Bell Telephone. The applicant proposes to construct a room addition along the northern lot line and requests a variance to use the minimum northern side yard from 5 feet to 1 foot. Planning is generally supportive of the setback variance, but requests all scales and dimensions and elevations to ensure consistency with CTP2 design guidelines. CTP2 recommends that design and character of additions be appropriate based on the principal and nearby structures in terms of height, width, setback, lot coverage, roof pitch, etc., and that building materials of high quality and durability. As such, planning is generally supportive of the variances, but requests all scales and dimensions, elevations to ensure the proposed addition is consistent. After review and after noting the materials on this site plan, the planning division is in approval. Division of Traffic Management has no comments. The Columbus Southside Area Commission recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the elevations again are consistent with CTP2 design. The additions are based on principal structures as well as materials being consistent with the existing structure. The only condition we ask is that the applicant will commit to the stamped site plan and elevations to ensure compatibility with the guidelines.
Thank you so much. So you have the recommendation of city staff with the condition of having your site plan stamped. Are you willing to accept that?
Yeah.
Great. You also have the acceptance or support of the Columbus South Side Commission and all the city offices. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
Yeah, just, since the Southside Commission, I got a letter of approval from my front neighbor at 363 Thurman. I'm 363 rear. So I have a signed letter of approval from them.
Okay. You can provide it to staff and they'll put that in the file. Is that all you wanted to add for now?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions from our board members? Okay. Anyone in the audience here to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none, somebody with the condition.
With the condition.
Please call the roll. By your help.
Yes.
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 Yes, your variance is granted. Good luck, take care. BZA 21-152 for 450 East Tulane Road, please come forward. Hello, would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
My name is Erin Johnson and I have been sworn.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
BZA 21-152, 4 feet east 2. Located on the north side of Tulane Road, approximately 140 feet east of Indianola Avenue. Site is zone R3 residential and within the Clintonville area. Site is built with a single family dwelling in a residential neighborhood, a bunch of rears and existing yard. And it's the existing garage. The applicant plans to raise the existing garage and rebuild a new garage and request a variance to increase the allowable height of the detached garage from 15 feet to 24 feet. Though the site is on an alley, the Division of Traffic Management has no issues either side of the alley. The planning division recommends approval based on the site plan. City staff is also recommending approval with the condition the applicant will commit to the stamped site plan and elevations to ensure compatibility with the Clintonville area plan guide.
Thank you very much. You have the recommendation from city staff with the condition as presented for stamping the site plan. Are you in agreement with that? Great. You also have the recommendation from the Clintonville Area Commission and other city offices. Do you have anything additional that you'd like to add?
Submitted a letter of support to the Clintonville Area Commission, which I think was forwarded to Jamie and sent that out.
I got the recommendation from Clintonville, but I don't think I got it. But if you have it, I can definitely.
Okay, I don't have it. Check if it's necessary or not. It's up to you.
I don't think it's going to be necessary.
Okay.
Anything additional you'd like to add?
So we're just looking to remediate issues with drainage. It's actually been hit by refuse trucks 4 times. So picking it up from Height of 15-foot grumpy trucks should hopefully help. It will be 18 feet on the outside. Are seeking a variance for 24 feet under slope. Side. Answer questions about. site plans.
What did you say? An additional variance?
Oh, no, the variance that we're seeking is for 24 feet in height,
Yes.
but, the height at the alley side, and north alley side will only be 18 feet. Because that is 3 feet of clearance of refuse.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are any questions from our board members? Questions or comments? Okay, is there anyone in the audience here to speak for or against this proposal?
Question.
Call the question with the condition of the condition. Please call the roll.
Maleka?
Yes.
Woodland?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, your variance is granted. Good luck with your new garage. Case BZA 21-153 for 2590 Finley Avenue. The applicant, please step forward. Hello, would you both please provide your names and confirm whether or not you've been sworn?
Yes, no, I didn't swear yet.
Shalili Johannes, and I have not.
Okay, would you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. So, whose case is Jane again?
Yeah.
Batter up.
2590 Finley Avenue is located on the side of Finley Avenue, approximately 100 Hudson Street. The site is zoned R2F residential and the 2,904 square foot site is on, have you developed this demolished site yet?
No, we have not.
Okay, well, they proposed to demolish this building, so it will be an undeveloped site. It allows them lot in a residential neighborhood. After demolition, the applicant proposes to construct a single unit dwelling. Attached garage and requests a variance to increase the maximum floor area ratio from 0.4 to 0.5747. University District Plan design guidelines recommend that priority be placed on preserving existing contributing buildings. The new single-family housing be compatible with nearby housing in terms of height, width, building materials, porches, roof pitch, setbacks, windows. The plan states that accessory buildings like garages be located in the rear, street trees and front setback landscaping and planted to be provided, and that the front entrance include a porch or porch-like element, scale and proportions of the traditional district. Division of Traffic Management has no issue. The area with direct approval. The staff can recommend approval as the existing dwelling is beyond repair. The proposed dwelling will be compatible with nearby housing in terms of height, width, building materials, etc. We are asking for one condition that the applicant will commit to the stamped site plan and elevations to ensure compatibility with the university district. Sure.
Thank you very much. So I'm curious, the floor area ratio, how is that calculated? Is it calculated based on the square footage of the new house?
Yes. Divided by the lot area.
Okay, so they're going to be a little bit out of compliance,
Yeah.
not much at all.
And the goal on the university plan, that your university area plan is the only part of the city that.
Okay.
That would never happen.
Thank you. So you have the recommendation from the city with the condition that we stamp a site plan. Do we have a site plan from them?
Yeah, I left all my site plans with them, so.
Okay, so I'll be here on the next site plan. Okay. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add? You have the University Area Commission support and the various city offices. Is there anything additional that you'd like to provide?
Not really. We just made the one little change. We didn't make any change eventually, we just, the material.
Yeah, which we ended up going forward and back in to go along with what was requested by the neighbor. So I know she got here, so we went along with what she asked for that, just to be in compliance with them. But other than that, the square footage we're adding is, everything complies, it's just added to the third floor, which is still within the height restrictions and the lot coverage and everything. So
Was that board and batten, was that listed on the site plan you sent me, or the updated elevation you sent me?
It was in our emails. I'm not sure if it was.
Okay, we'll just make that as a condition. Make sure it will be board and batten then.
And does university area have architectural review?
No, University Impact District.
That's fine. Okay. So thank you for sharing that update. Is there any question or comment from our board members? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this proposal? Yes, ma'am, please step forward. If you guys could give her a chair so she can be front and center in front of that camera. Video, YouTube, is that what we're on?
Yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, would you please, is that Ms. Keenan? Would you please provide us with your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Yes, name is Nancy Massaro. I haven't been sworn.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, say I do. Okay, you have 3 minutes.
I'm not sure that the aesthetics have anything to do with the zoning board, so maybe that can't be addressed. It's a very modern building. It's very nice looking building. I just didn't think it fits the character of the neighborhood. And also, it was going to be 2-story, maybe now it's 3-story, to give it more room, but more yard. Where the, do you have the picture up there? Where the yard is now, that's where the house is going to be. So that there's not going to be an empty yard there. I guess I'm the only house that would be affected because it would, block my view to the north and let any daylight in. But my concern was that the historic character of the neighborhood would not fit in with their modern design. But I don't know if they've addressed that.
That's not within our purview. Really.
Okay. The concerns of the neighbors were that there was going to be a garage with a deck on top of it that they felt would look into 8 different people's backyards, and they were concerned about privacy issues or noise issues. From my house, there it is. I mean, if I'm on my porch, I can't see it. I don't think it would affect me as much as it would the surrounding people, but it is a house on an alley, and the neighbors were also concerned that they couldn't get the amount of money that they're thinking for building a house on an alley for someone, a single family, to move in there.
You're talking about this new house?
Yes.
And the neighbors are concerned if these people are going to get enough money?
Well, they don't think that a single family would pay $400,000 to live on an alley.
Okay. What difference does that make? That's not relevant here, ma'am. We're here to hear a variance request for changing the maximum floor area ratio from 0.40 to 0.57.
About a 50% increase, almost.
50%?
Yes, almost 2, right?
0.4 to 0.57.
That's
Which is
so.
1.7 is almost 2%,
though.
Almost 50% of what it was.
Well,
If it was 4 and it goes up 2,
0.4, so not even 1, whole number, to 0.5.
0.8 would be 100%. But it's not, it sounds weird to say it that way. Increase over
I'm glad they're doing something with the property. And the neighbors are just concerned about the historic character of the neighborhood. Fit in, but if this is only about building a big house on a small lot,
So you're here to speak in opposition.
for the plan, for the setting, if they've changed it, if they made the footprint smaller because now they have 3 floors instead of 2, maybe it's different from the one I saw at the University area.
Okay, we will be stamping a site plan that they'll have to adhere to. Your time is up, so if you wouldn't mind signing in on that sheet just on the other side. Thank you. Anyone else here to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none.
I'll call the question with a condition.
Question has been called with the condition. Please call the roll.
Wait, if I could interrupt, I believe we have 2 conditions now. One is stamping the site plan, the other being that the.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Board.
Board and batten.
Yeah.
Well, then so I'll call the question with 2 conditions, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. DeMore.
Yes.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
Chair Jones.
Yes, the variance is granted. Good luck with your new home.
Thank you.
You're welcome. BZA 21-154, 3306 Hurst Drive. Good evening. Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Yes, I'm Justin Shear. I have been sworn.
What's your name again?
Justin Shear, SHEAR.
Okay, thank you. And whose case is this? You're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 3306 Harris Drive is located on the northeast side of Harris Drive. This has not been platted or built yet. The roads don't even exist. So this is approximately 160 feet west of O'Hagra Drive, served by the Far East Area Commission and Zone R2 residential. All that's here. The quarter-acre site is currently undeveloped and part of a newly platted detached residential development in northwest Fairfield County. The applicant proposes to construct a single-unit dwelling with attached garage. The variance is to reduce the rear yard area from 25% of the lot to 17%. As you can see, it's a triangular lot. The proposal is generally consistent with C2P2 residential design guidelines. Staff notes that the larger side yard present on the corner lot acts to mitigate the rear yard area reduction. The Far East Area Commissioner recommends approval of the request pending a letter from the new owner in contract with knowledgeable consent of that percentage. This was taken directly from the Area Commission's recommendation form that's on the last page of your report. They put that in as a condition, so I'm adding it in for your benefit.
So to be clear, the area association has requested that the end user, the buyer for this home, sign.
Yeah, I can read the Area Commission. So here's what they put on their form. The Far East Area Commission gives approval pending a letter with knowledgeable consent of background percentage. So the intent of the commission is to make sure that the new in-contract property owner understands and agrees to the variance request. So they want a letter from the new owner in contract saying that they understand the variance request.
That's a bit of an overreach.
Explain. City departments recommend approval. The proposal is generally consistent with C2P2 and the rear yard reduction is mitigated by the larger side yard.
Thank you very much. So you have the recommendation of approval generally, I guess. Are they saying their approval is conditional on that?
Yes, I believe they have received a letter, some kind of written consent.
Okay.
So in terms of their recommendation, it appears to be approval.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I'll help you real quick here. A few clarifications on what you said. All roads do exist. Every foundation in that section is in, with the exception of this one home here. They had at the meeting asked for a letter. It was a very strange meeting. They asked for a letter, which was fine. And what actually happened is the customer sent in a letter and then they had some questions about the letter. So Jennifer Chamberlain, I believe, actually said, well, if I just speak directly with the customer, that will suffice. So they actually had a conversation which can be clarified by, I believe, Jennifer Chamberlain. I have documentation in my email of it. And I guess to give you a quick overview of this, this was an affordable housing subdivision and we had released it for pre-sale. That was when there was no streets, and I guess we were fortunate enough it all sold very quickly. And then with that setback, because of the width, because it's a reverse pie, it's the largest lot in that section. But unfortunately, if you follow the rules, you'll have to build the absolute smallest home we can build to accommodate it. The issue there was I have a handicapped veteran who I couldn't move them to another lot. And she certainly can't have a two-story home. So in her best interest is why we move forward with trying to help her get a variance for that rear yard percentage. So anyway, just trying to clarify some things there for you.
So,
Sorry,
let
did
me,
you say you were with Homewood? You're with Homewood.
Corporation, yeah.
just to clarify. Well,
And also, oh, there's another thing that I got a few notes as you were speaking. They also at that meeting requested that we center the lot. It's the same thing to
rotated.
correct, which I actually agree. I think this looks better for the homeowners surrounding them as well. I can give you copies of it if you'd like.
Yes.
Yeah, that's different than what we've seen.
So it just rotates the.
I can pass these. I don't need the copies.
We'll hand them to the staff for the approved.
But in general, why would, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out why the commission would want the owners to sign off on a variance.
Well, they're 2 steps ahead of us. Homewood is the owner now, and that's who's made the variance request, and that's the only one we're concerned about, so.
That's what I'm trying to think the logic.
Just because it's different, and maybe they think they won't sell the house, I don't know, like,
No, yeah, we sold it. In fact, I explained to them, it's in our best interest that if we were selfish and self-serving, it would be in our best interest that this was denied so we could sell a house at today's pricing, but our interest is to help this woman, this lot.
Okay, so generally you have the acceptance from the Far East Area Commission, various city offices, and there are no conditions, but we will stamp the site plan.
No, I wasn't asking to say either side.
Okay, well,
If they're adhering to the reduction.
Doesn't matter where the house goes.
okay, well, I won't burden you with signing this, I guess, some of your time, if you want to see that. That's the.
I mean, I'm happy to.
I don't want to mandate that, so don't worry about it. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none?
So we can't have the condition of the new site plan, or I just don't, I'll call the question with the condition that you stamp the new site plan.
You can do either, that's up to you. I was saying for staff, like we're not recommending.
I mean, the motion to stamp the site plan I just gave.
Okay, hold on a second. Is the entire board okay with that?
Yeah, I think it's a better site plan, so that's.
So do I, sure.
I would actually prefer you do that.
Okay. Good.
Sounds great to me.
So you accept the new condition, so call the question with the new condition. One more site plan for me. Call the question? Question's been called?
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Malika?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie?
Yes.
Chair Jones?
Yes, variance is granted. We'll get this back to you. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
DZA 21-157, 4150 to 4207 Worth Avenue. Good evening.
Good evening,
What is your name?
Marty Brenner.
Okay, Marty, and have you been sworn?
I'm sure
Okay, great, thank you.
Michael Meredith and I.
Take it over. Okay, ready? 4150 through 4207 Worth Avenue is located at the northeast corner of Stelton Road and Lake Drive. Site is on CBD Commercial Plan Development District and is within the northeast area. Basically, this is the eastern gateway. The site consists of 327-acre parcel within the Easton Town Center, actually it's the Easton Gateway, and is developed with commercial shopping centers, a grocery store, and several restaurants. Around the site are predominantly commercial uses to the north, south, and west. The east is Interstate 70. The applicant is requesting a special permit to continue to park a DHL pop-up trailer, a portable building, the parking lot just northeast of the Stelzer Road and Lake Drive intersection. The service shipping needs as it does not have a brick and mortar establishment in the area. DZA 21-028 was approved at this location in May of 2021. It was limited to 8 months. The applicant now proposes a 2-year time frame for the portable building. I have no comment regarding the proposal. The Northeast Area Plan does not address portable buildings, and the Division of Traffic Management has no comments either. The Area Commission just got from Michael recommendation of approval for this request, and city staff recommends approval as well. Although the Northeast Area Plan does not address portable buildings, staff can recommend approval of this request as it will be temporary, compatible with the general character of Easton, and will not displace any required parking spaces. We are asking for one condition that the use of the portable building on the site will be limited to 2 years.
Thank you very much. I've seen this. It's in front of Saks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it there and for how long? What are your thoughts on that?
This is a new unit. It's fully solar powered, which I think is amazing. The Northwest Commission that we met with, they were ecstatic about it. One of the board uses it. It's been a great success for the company. I think they served over 1,000 since it started in May. They served 1,000 Columbus area people in almost 100 countries, which thought that was incredible.
That is interesting.
So they would like to continue doing that. It helps the employee who works there have security that his job won't be moving. And we want to continue being a good corporate citizen in the community and participating. None of the surrounding businesses have had any issues. So we're hoping that it's a success for everyone.
Okay, I like that. So there, you have the recommendation from our city staff with the condition as presented that it'll be limited to 2 years, and it sounds like you're okay with that. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
And we just appreciate your support of the staff and working with us through this unusual new type of zone or permit.
They are a great staff, aren't they? Any questions from board members?
Oh,
Anybody in the audience remaining that would like to speak for or against this proposal?
I'll call the question with a condition.
Question's been called. Please call the roll.
Mr. Weatherly?
Yes.
Yes.